This is a video response to the Just Hit Record series, or as Shafe said, Just Hit Record. Like Warren's cherry pie, it's a hit record. Just hit record. So, the Great White Stoke, giving us a walk through the woods on the road. Man, you can hear the snow crunching beneath his feet. You can hear the little one just kind of walking next to him with a little peep every now and again. On my Lamb Dog 76 channel, when my daughter was very young, she was always cool about going on hiking trips, and she's in a few of those videos. And looking back on them while they're still there, it seems some videos end up getting purged, but it is so cool. Such wonderful memories. And it seems like you and Shafe and Corey and a few others, and Bonnet Mom and Papa Sned are mindful of the care of our young, and that's so great. That is so great to see. Down here, we've got posters everywhere at like football stadiums and baseball stadiums, and it said, there's going to be a last time you drop them off for practice. There's going to be a last time you pick them up from the game. And then there's memes on Facebook that go like, there will be a last time you set down your baby and you never pick them up again. It's crazy. It's crazy watching your kids transition. It's crazy hearing them say that they're going to volunteer for the military. Nothing like that feeling. Something happens in your heart that you can't quite place. Just it feels like a sacrifice. But that is not the point of this video. This is to respond to Stoke talking about a street fight, and I dig it. I dig what you said. It's interesting that you trying to be the gray man actually seemingly worked against you in the de-escalation of that fight. That could have been in your head, maybe, like thinking, well, I'm in a lavender shirt, or I look like a pasty faced guy with great genetics and high cheekbones and wonderful eyes behind just special glasses. We used to have at the school I went to, we used to have a drill called fighting from the wall. And what would happen is we'd break off into groups of two, and the one group would be against the wall, like your back was fully against the wall to where your elbows. Now this is stand up fighting. Your elbows, you could not draw back your elbows to actually get in a fight. You're very limited in bringing your core up. And so what would happen is the person on the wall is the defender, and the person on the other side is actually the aggressor. And your job is to keep them on the wall. The other person just has to make it out of the line. Teaches speed, teaches aggression, teaches the person on the wall what it feels like to be pinned. And there was a lady in our group, and man, she must have had brothers or something growing up, because she would hit you not in the center like what other people would do, not like knee the side or anything like what other people would do. Literally, and it had nothing to do with being up against the wall, she would literally do these right hooks in your arm. Like, imagine the exact side of your arm where even if you've got a little bit of muscle, there's an area on the side of your arm where, I guess that's the humerus bone right there. It's like where the skin is just closest to the bone. And she would hit that spot on me and just boom, 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 boom. And I don't know if the instructor saw it or not, but it had to have been the most useless thing to have me against the wall as I'll get out. But man, it hurt. It hurt. And I'm thinking, holy crap, is her freaking arm gonna get tired? And I don't really know what I was supposed to do with that. Do I bring my hand up? I mean, she's not trying to hit my head. I bring my hand up, and now she's gonna get to my ribs, or is she gonna get to my ribs, or do I just give like what you did, a little bit of a shove? I can only shove so much. The idea of being on the wall is you got to just sit there and take it. And yeah, the elite kickboxing taekwondo arm punch method. Oh man, more like an abusive girlfriend, where she just hauls off and punches you randomly, like because you suggested the wrong thing for dinner, and she, the wrong thing to go out to dinner, or she won't let you won't let her drive the truck because she's too drunk, so she punches you in your arm. It was like that, dude. It was wild. It was not as fun. It'd make you want to do a kata. The art, the beauty, the flow of the kata. Real tricky doing stand-up fighting with the different genders, especially because, I don't know, Taekwondo's funny. It's when you're fighting people or you're sparring and you see them like wind up kicks, and if you're willing to, you almost have to have the instructor say, okay, there's no punches on this, because when people are winding up, you can like see them tense up, wind up, to bring a roundhouse kick or some of these other kicks that are absolutely beautiful. Nobody's thinking like front kick. You do a front kick, come in with some jabs and just fight them to the wall, but that doesn't score sexy points in a tournament. Yeah, not a useless practitioner. I don't know if you ever did it, and this is why I left it. It got religious about it. The whole point of the Taekwondo flag, the mind, body, meld, and spirit, it actually opposed some of my core beliefs. It's weird. It was almost, dare I say, and other people may have commented on it more, it was almost anti-Shinto, which is weird, because so many Asian martial arts are very, very spiritual. I'm more drawn to the beauty of the Japanese ones, I think. So I'm not sharing any of this to brag or anything, so please don't misconstrue. I don't want to sit on my high horse and say that I hadn't had altercations. Most recent one was probably, oh man, it was a while ago. We're talking 2005. Got into it with a customer at work. Yeah, I know, right? So I was working for Chrysler at the time, and they were doing this big recall on catalytic converters. And check it out, it was catalytic converters on the old Jeep Cherokees, the old box style Jeep Cherokees. So man, around the block, we had all these shitbox Jeep Cherokees coming in. And people would come in all lined up. They'd be like, I'm here for my catalytic converter. Well, no, that's not how the recall worked. What we were supposed to do is we were supposed to inspect, make sure the catalytic converter was original. If the catalytic converter was original, we replaced the sensors on both sides of the catalytic converter and reprogrammed the PCM, after which the customer was to drive it and the computer tests and make sure the catalytic converter efficiency is still good. Well, naturally, these are older vehicles. We're talking vehicles from 1996, 1997, ancient by today's comparisons. And so you'd get these people in, and starts out with the inspection, and who knows what the service writers were telling them in the beginning. And we put them up in the air, and it'd be an aftermarket catalytic converter, and that's all she wrote. You're all done. You put them up in the air, no catalytic converter at all, like cut out. Sorry, you're done. You're out of here. Say the original catalytic converter is in, you do the oxygen sensors, you reprogram the computer, and you give the vehicle back. Well, they don't like that. They want a new catalytic converter. And they want the old one too, because they want to bring it in for scrap, because a catalytic converter, that's money. 20, 50 bucks, even back then. So this one particular guy, we were pretty lucky. We had a female service writer, good looking girl. Her dad was our sales manager over on the used car side, actually. And she started out as a receptionist and was just kind of working her way up. And I'm just kind of going around. I turn in keys to the vehicle that I was working on. I don't know if this particular customer was mine or not, but all of a sudden I hear some yelling. I hear, give me my keys. And she said, you ain't getting shit. You got to sign the paper. Like, you didn't give me my catalytic converter. I want my keys back. I'm out of here. She's like, you are not getting these keys back until you sign. So I walk over there and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, she won't give my motherfucking keys back. And she's like, he won't sign the paper. And I'm like, just give him his keys. It's okay. Give him his keys. Let go. And I noticed that he has her hand. And she looks over at me and she says, I can't let go. My finger's stuck. And he's got this look on his face that I've only seen a few times. His eyes were almost glossy. Man was in a rage. I said, sir, she can give you her keys back, but you got to let go first, because her finger is stuck. I'm sure I wasn't that calm. At that point, I put my hand on his hand because he's starting to pull and twist as I see him twist. So my hand goes on his hand to stop him from doing the twist. And he's like, don't you fucking touch me. And I'm like, you need to let go. He's like, I can't let go if you got my hand. And then all of a sudden, it's almost as if I don't even exist. He looks back at her, give me my fucking keys. At that point, my buddy comes over. He's like, Ron, what are we going to do? I said, call Rob, get the manager over here. We try to get our manager over here. He won't come out of his office. He's like, well, I'm in a real important meeting right now. I can't leave. And little boy's like, no, sir, you really, really, really need to get out here. This is very important. This is an emergency. I just can't. So I start to dig into this guy. I placed my fingers, reached around his wrist, and pushed in like the area, to the bottom of your palm, trying to find what I thought I could remember was a pressure point. And I give it in. I look over to V. I said, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to take this motherfucker out. And he's like, let me try Rob again. He's on the phone. I'm like, we're gonna be calling 911 in a minute. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. He's like, yeah, Vince, go ahead and call 911. And so he does. He's on the phone with them. I'm like, all right, listen to me. And I'm like giving it all my might, but it's almost like the guy's got this look on his face like he can't feel nothing, but he's not saying anything anymore. You know, his face is all red. His eyes are glossy. Dude, maybe the guy was high. I'm like, here's what's going to happen. I look over to my service rider lady. I say, you're going to relax your hands. You're going to let go of these keys as best you can. Okay? She's like, all right. I look over to him. And I say, hey, I'm going to let up here. And when I let up, you're going to let go of her, and she's going to give you those keys. You understand? He's like, I'm like, all right, let's try this. So I let up. He lets up. She dangles the keys. He snatches them out of her hand. He's like, I'm calling the police, man. I can't believe my hand hurts, man. Hurts, yeah, it hurts. I'm calling the police. Fucking, he gets in his vehicle. He leaves. Another couple of minutes, manager comes out of the office. Cops show up 30 seconds later. Fixed operations manager shows up. General manager from the other side shows up. Everybody's taken aside. The police officer gets the call of his call while he's there. I mean, that old adage of whoever calls first calls best. And fixed operations manager says, he's out there. Takes us into the service manager's office, and okay, you three, I want you guys to sit down, and I want on paper just everything that happened, only facts, not what you think, not what anything, only facts. What you said, what he said, not what you think he thought, not what you thought, not what you thought somebody else thought, just facts. The service manager that wanted to hide in his office comes in there, and he's like, oh, I got camera footage. The fixed operations manager looks up at him and says, you don't have to be in here. Kicks him out of his own office. He's on the phone with the company lawyer, not the service manager, but fixed operations manager and general manager. They're on the phone with the company lawyer. I can kind of overhear, yeah, we're getting statements now. I hear, no, I don't think that'll be necessary. He goes out, talks to the police officer. I don't think I ever talked to the officer direct. It was actually just my written statement that went to them. The other part of it was, he's like, and I don't want you guys talking to each other while you're making these statements. And we were all like, yes, sir. And that is that. I was never prosecuted or anything or arraigned. It was self-defense. I don't know what happened to him or what injury he incurred. I know I was digging into that wrist pretty good, and he wasn't reacting. Don't know if he was high or not, but man, that was wild. I can just remember processing, like, oh my God, like, headbutt this guy. I can't knock him to the ground. He's got a hold of the other person, literally, and her finger's stuck in key ring that he's got a hold of the keys on, you know? Oddly, I wasn't scared. I didn't have time to be scared. Seems like from the story we know who was scared, though. So that's my story. So since then, de-escalate. I've told any service writer later on who worked for me, unless the customer owes us money, you know, if the customer like has possession of their keys and they're running away, let them run. We can catch up with them later. That's happened later too, where we had a customer later on snatched their keys off, left, didn't want to pay. I think it was like an $1,100 bill, and you know, we have processes, and people sign off on estimates and approvals, and man, you run off with your keys, and you just committed a felony. And it's funny how businesses will press charges on stuff like that, but I would rather have that happen 20 times than what could have possibly happened. Think about it. If I got lucky, if we had lost our balance, if I hadn't have been thinking about what I was doing or trying to slow it down, you know, if he had tripped or fell over and had her finger like that, it could have seriously hurt her finger, the way those keys were wrapped around. You know, imagine your middle finger is through the loop of the key ring and another person has it like twisted. They've got a grip on the keys and your hand, and it's like twisting and like cutting off blood flow to her finger. It was wild, man. It was so very wild. I was like, man, I'll just open up your hand. I can, he's got it. And I'm sure it was fast. But looking back, I'd like to, you guys ever see Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift? You're like, hey man, can I get a copy of that video? All right, take it easy, people. See ya.